The audience, that's all they're going to see is just this thing right here.
So I'm going to go ahead and hand out. This is the Mayor Anejo regular release, just so everyone has it.
Yeah.
So we're all ready to go.
Sure.
This is the single barrel.
Nice. There you go. So we're starting with this one.
Yep.
Going to this one.
No, there's no. And we'll do a water rinse.
Sure.
Because I didn't want to wash all the glasses.
Yeah. All right. Tell you what, Ryan, why don't you just go ahead with that?
Let's go ahead and go.
Yeah, might as well.
Why don't you
Dive
flip it down
into
to
it.
one at least?
Huh?
You flip it down to one.
Yeah, I'm just one click away.
All right, ready?
This is Drink Talk, where we try to solve the world's problems one drink at a time. Each week in this podcast, the topics of today and tomorrow are discussed while we sample some of the finest libations known to man. Join us. We are your hosts, Brian and Britt.
Check us out.
Many thanks for listening.
All right. Boop, boop, boop.
Well, hello.
Yeah, we're going live here. Why not? We're trying new things out, and I should exit out of my settings and actually get us in the shot. There we go.
Yeah.
Now we're in the shot.
Hey, guys. Welcome to Drink Talk.
Life is an experiment.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Well, we got a new studio, so we got to try new
Correct.
things out.
Yeah.
Hey, Alzuri, welcome to the program
Yeah,
again.
welcome back.
Check out the new studio.
Yeah, this is so awesome for you to be here. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
I know you've been here a couple times before, and so the last time I was looking back on my notes, and it was January. We were doing the wildfires in California.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. So I think that was the last time you were here.
We did cinnamon whiskeys.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because of
Yeah.
the wildfires. Yeah.
So you, after the show ended, you created one. You took some absinthe, and you lit it on fire,
Yeah.
and then you poured the mudslide on. I'm like, why didn't you do that on the show? And you're like, oh, well, I didn't want to burn this place down. And then, of course, I reached down and I grabbed the fire extinguisher.
Because there's on the off chance that this would not go right.
Yeah.
It's probably best we didn't need that.
Right? We didn't need fire damage going on.
Correct.
Like, oh my gosh, it's California all over again.
I mean, I was pretty confident it'd work. But
Yeah, right. And it did work. It was
It did
great.
work.
Yeah,
it was
I
awesome.
gotta say, having a bartender on the show, making us drinks on the show, is a bit of awesome.
Oh yeah, it was
Really.
fantastic.
it's better than beer.
Yeah.
Sorry, beer guys.
Yeah, I was trying to go back and find out, because that wasn't the only episode you were on. You were on
No.
one time before, and I couldn't remember which one.
Suicides.
That was. Oh yeah,
Yeah, that
that's
was
right.
kind of a tough. That was your first one too.
So,
like, all right.
Yeah, and that was probably September last year,
Correct.
because that's September's suicide prevention.
And what we did
awareness.
is, suicide cocktails and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
it was still like,
that was a rough one. Yeah, you got a trial by fire, really,
like how do you
in
make
both ways.
how do you make fun jokes about this while still taking it very seriously?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, well, but thank you for joining us
You
and
have
making
to
time.
enjoy life.
Correct.
Right?
Exactly.
That's what it's all about.
And those
Speaking of
helps.
enjoying,
Right.
What do you have for us
Well,
today?
hey,
All right.
first, before we go into the drinks, maybe we talk about where we got them from.
Okay, so
I mean,
yeah.
I should
Good call,
I
yeah.
should do this.
We-
Hey.
Pop that.
So
pop
yes,
that up there.
Spirit World deserves a little nod out because
Yeah.
they provided us our alcohol content tonight. We're doing single barrel picks. So
where can we find Spirit World for those that do not know?
Would be on the corner of 67th Center. Although right now, for some reason, unbeknownst to everything we can fix, Google puts us on C Street.
That's weird.
Weird.
It has only happened the last 2
Yeah.
months.
It's in the new Exarban district.
Village,
Yeah,
across
Exarban
the street from Baxter Arena and Stetson Park.
Yeah.
Just
Right
have
as-
one of
right
those
as you enter.
Google cars drive by and be like, no, we're here. We're not on C Street.
Well, I'm wondering if we offended them. That's why they're
Right. So again, it's in the Exarban Village,
Exarban
right,
Village.
Right in the corner. You can't miss it. Right as you're
Correct.
turning into it. So
the old Woolner's location. We have the prime spot.
Yeah.
Hockey season starts, and we'll be reminded how great it is to be on the corner.
Yeah. This is cool, Britt. I like this.
yeah, no.
This new
So
upgrade.
you guys got a new upgrade in there, didn't you?
Correct. So
new bar.
The original bar had room for 7 people because they're like, oh, well, you know, how good could that be? Well, I'm actually really damn good. Pardon my language. You got to beat that out. But no. So what they decided is that we needed more seats and a bigger space at the bar. We took over the cafe section. While this cafe is still there, cafe's not open at night. Bars are.
Right.
You know what we sell a whole lot of liquor.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
So, yeah, we built a whole new bar.
Extended
at
So
a
I,
draft
I
bar.
was just going to say that I did see on your guys' logo it does say cafe. So you got are you still serving some type of
still
food?
doing cafe during the day
Gotcha.
So
Till when?
till 3.
Oh, okay.
And there is a clientele for chicken salad, and
Yeah.
those aren't my customers. Happy to help them, but that's not what they come see me for. But what we did is elevate that counter and make it usable as a bar.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But instead of having somebody stand there to take your order for just a cafe, we said I could use this and sell drinks.
Did you get rid of the small bar on the other side there?
No, that in the future that will be my space.
Nice.
All
But
right.
currently, so people don't sit at the other bar.
Yeah.
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 Cheers, Kyle.
So and then there's also you have like a little meeting space in there, right?
Correct. We have a private. We call it a private tasting room. Holds up to 24 people. Incredible for small gatherings. We primarily built it just so I could sit in there and I do educational classes.
Cool.
So we talk about, tequila classes, whiskey classes. Just on Monday we did an Irish whiskey class. Coming up soon, October 25th, we're doing a Kilhoman, which is an Isla single malt Scotch distillery.
Nice.
Oh man, it's
So
How do I sign up for these classes?
if you go onto our Facebook, there's a link that will take you there to sign up for all these events. Also,
You could just probably stop in the store and talk to somebody.
you can stop in the store, and then also if you sign up to our newsletter on our website, it'll allow you to get emails for these upcoming events.
Gotcha.
Because we got a lot
There'd be a
going
link
on.
in the email or something.
Correct.
Gotcha.
We got a lot of events coming up this month and going. We have a few going into November, and then I'll be honest, come December, we're just selling bottles of liquor. No one wants to come in. No one's going to take time out of their day. Let's go get a couple people together to go sit down and do a flight. No, let me just get my bottles, get home, get the presents wrapped, move on to my next, holiday moment.
it's a cool spot, though. I like going there. I mean, it's a neat spot to kind of
Yeah,
hang out for a little bit.
you've got everything. You've got beer, you've got liquor, you've got wine.
We should do a wine show.
I'm with you on
We
that.
haven't.
love
We've
wine.
we've only done that once, actually.
I was actually drinking wine just earlier, so we were
yeah,
at the
so-
folks' house, family dinner. You
I was
gotta
having
drink a
dinner
little wine.
and I had wine, yeah.
Yeah.
But we should do a wine sometime because even though cocktails and spirits are my professional specialty, I love wine and studying wine is just so much fun.
Why that got so stretched out? But it's all right,
Rink tall.
right?
All right. All right.
You got scared.
Karen's on. She says hey to all of us
Oh, hola, Karen.
from
Yeah.
the pint.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah. Good to see you.
Well, let's get into some drinks and let's get into some talking.
So before we get into our serious talk about media exhaustion, let's talk about what I poured you. So we are
Yes.
starting tonight off with tequila. So we are doing
Both of these are tequila.
both these are tequila.
Okay.
We're doing El Mayor Anejo. It's a fantastic product. It's always been a deal. It's done really well for us at the store. What we decided for the first time is to invest in a single barrel, which means they sent me half a dozen samples. We sat down through them and we decided what blew our mind. Because while the tequila is good by itself, that tequila that we're drinking for the first time is taking all these different barrels, blending them together to create a consistent profile that they want to have at every time. Blending is just such a skill set. But you get into single barrel, you could almost call it lazy man whiskey or tequila for this case. But what it is you're tasting this juice that they make perfectly. They put it in a barrel, and the barrel just does something special. So Anejo means that it's aged anywhere from minimum of a year, but less than 2. They did not give me the exact date on this, but if you notice, these two do not share the same
They're
exact
interesting
color.
looking
So-
bottles.
Can I? Can
Yeah.
you turn one of those cameras? I just zoomed in there and
Sorry.
I was just gonna check that out real quick. There we go. That way the
Is that all right?
yeah, it's perfect.
It's perfect.
It's perfect. Oh, very nice. Cool, and we can pick these up at Spirit World. Look at
Yes,
that.
you can.
Bada bing,
They're
bada
about
bing.
mid-40s.
So what's the first one that we're going to be drinking? Is
So
it which
we're
one?
going to do this one here, which is
Okay.
our standard Anejo. Great product. It's always done well for us. And that would be in the shot glass. Please do not take this as a shot. Remember,
It's a sipping.
I almost
Tequila.
brought my own glassware, but I was like, no, they have some glasses. But now I wish I would have brought my own glassware.
Yeah, sorry.
So,
I
cheers.
guess we need to up our game when you come
Yeah.
around.
All right.
Cheers.
Bang, bada boom.
Now don't shoot it. Just take a sip.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That
really
is-
flavorful.
Wow.
Super
It's
smooth.
delicious.
It's like got an oaky. Mm-hmm. It tastes. Yeah.
So tequila or whiskey drinkers, when they start drinking tequila, they prefer the Anejos because the barrel translates to something they recognize.
That's the
see one
first
of those
thing that I
bottles?
noticed was the barrel, and then as it went in,
Then you
further-
get more of that tequila
more of the
profile.
tequila. Absolutely.
But
It almost doesn't even taste like tequila. I mean,
It does. It does in the like.
on the back end.
On the back end, it
But
takes a
just-
minute.
When I first had it, I was like, "Are we drinking whiskey or what?" I mean,
But that's why tequila. When whiskey guys are getting into tequila, the Anejos first appeal to them because it's a profile they get. Even the logic. So when I first started drinking tequila, I thought I didn't like it because I had Patron Silver, and it wasn't bad, but I just didn't care. Read an article, and this was years ago, where a guy approached tequila as whiskey, and as soon as I saw that, tequila made sense to me. It's like, oh my gosh, yeah, I take a white spirit, I put in barrels, and I get something new. This makes sense to me. But tequila will never be able to age as long as whiskey. Their climate is way too dramatic. So in Scotland, you lose about 1%, 1 to 3% a year to angel share. Kentucky 6 to 8, and everyone has
Just 'cause
fluctuating
the
numbers.
humidity. Is
Humidity and climate. You've got to.
I want to be those angels.
But then you get down to Texas and Mexico, you've got a 50-degree swing from day to night. So that's a really cold nights, really hot days. That barrel is huge extraction.
Well, and I'm assuming there's some condensation that goes in there. Not a lot because they don't leave a lot of room in those barrels.
Well, they fill them to the top. But,
Right.
But every day you're losing those pores of that barrel open up, and you're losing a little bit every day.
But it's got. I wonder if the flavor profile though. I mean, if it's being drawn into the wood and out of the wood.
I would
and all
assume that it would.
That's why you can get this much. This is less than 2 years. That's why I can get this much wood flavor in less than 2
yeah,
years.
for sure.
You get into the whiskeys we'll try later, you can get a lot less wood for the time. One of my favorite tricks at the store is I'll grab a 10-year bottle of scotch, hold it up to 4-year-old American whiskey, and the American whiskey's darker because of that much barrel extraction.
I like Jefferson's Ocean, where they have the barrels on the ship and
And even then, if they take a different route, and you have a whole new whiskey. So, but now we're on to whiskey. But
Yeah.
let's talk about
the second
Yes.
one. All right. So the difference is going to be what on this second one?
this one here is one barrel
my palate there.
alone. So
Okay.
this is going to be a blend of different barrels
To get a flavor
To get
profile.
a flavor profile.
Okay.
This is going to be. They poured it from this one barrel. They said this is something special. This is something to go to our single barrel program. So they sent me a sample. This one here is for me, so much better. So much more character, a lot more depth. So
Then
cheers.
the single barrel.
Then the single barrel's got more.
Oh, really? Okay.
Cheers. Clinky, clinky.
You can smell the. Is that the agave or yeah?
A lot smoother.
And it's
A
different.
lot smoother.
This
Yeah,
has like
I don't get the barrel up front.
This has got red berries and these
Man.
nuttiness.
This had a little bite at the end, just a little sting at the
I am
end.
getting the fruity.
But this just was so smooth.
This is way. I mean, this didn't have like.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it had bite.
Yeah, well,
But by
it had a
comparison,
little
it does.
bite.
Yeah.
Yeah, compared to these two. Yeah,
Yeah, this is like water. I mean, this
Yeah.
is
lots of
very
flavor,
smooth. Wow.
very easy to drink, and that's so when you go into places and this is not picking on the places that don't get this freedom. Spirit World, we actually get to try everything that comes in the store. So if we haven't had
Those are
it,
hard days, right?
by the way,
Oh,
that's
you gotta
tomorrow.
drink?
I gotta
it
drink
really?
first thing in the morning. These are the hard things I do.
Mm-hmm.
I love whining about my hard days.
Hard day sampling
Yeah.
alcohol.
Like last Monday, I had to work a double because I had to come in and do a whiskey tasting. Had to drink 8 Irish whiskeys with a bunch of people and get paid.
Man, how do you do it?
I do it for you.
Right.
But
Appreciate that.
like if you look at this bottle of El Mayor, you actually have, this is a new thing for us. Lori has started putting, Lori is the owner of the store, by the way. I'm just her head chump. Lori started putting her name and my name on the bottles that we pick
Oh, nice.
so that they actually know that when customers come in, it wasn't just that they sent us here's a single barrel for you. Because you'll see single barrels, Blanton's is a single barrel every time, but not everybody gets to pick it. We require that we pick every barrel that we get.
Well, and after 8 samples, you got to remember which bottles you picked.
Oh,
right?
man. Yeah, it helps you put your name on it. So,
No, and I was telling you before the podcast that I was not really a big fan of tequila, except for that time I was down there when you happened to have a tequila.
what were we sampling that day?
It was darker. It was aged.
I had you try actually, I think it was this brand, but I had you try the Extra Anejo.
Oh, it may have been, because I was very surprised that because I'm just and those of you that don't like tequila will know what I'm talking about. Just that smell of tequila just makes you
Like, oh.
oh.
It comes from a moment.
Yeah, it does. It does. We all have that moment. Mine was in conjunction with a Jack moment, so that
By
was.
the way, I'm just going to shoot this sample.
Yeah, might as well.
With it.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep both around. Just to
Was
keep
that the
samples,
same
'cause they're
time
good.
you and I were there?
Yes.
And you made him a old fashioned?
Yes.
Oh
Yeah, that was the same
man,
night.
that
Yeah.
old fashions are
was fantastic.
amazing there. By the way,
I love my old fashions.
Alzuri's old fashions are amazing.
do we want to just get new? I mean, I saw you lay all the cupware. I was
That's
just
right,
gonna get
yeah.
more. Whatever's clever.
Man, this is really good. The single barrel version of it.
Yeah, the regular one's great.
Is there a huge price difference between the two?
Same price.
Really?
So that was a big thing for us. So when we bring a single barrel, we don't want to compete. You know, we don't. Oh well, this is good. The regular one's fine. We're not trying to do that. So pretty much every time we bring a single barrel in, it will be the same price as a regular release.
Nice.
It's just one of those dumb things that's important to
Dumb
us.
things. That's
Well, you know,
important.
it's like
I wouldn't call it dumb. It's pretty cool.
No, it's not.
for us, yeah, it's a business. We have to make money.
Right.
Sure.
But we're actually, the whole store's full of a bunch of booze nerds. Like, this is a cool opportunity for everyone who's ever worked there. I've worked a lot of bars. No bar I've ever worked at gives me as much access as I've gotten at Spirit World. Because, you know, I work with Psalms, wine, spirits, cocktails.
Sommeliers, for those of you who don't know what a somm is.
Yeah, sommeliers. Very good.
My brother-in-law just became one, actually.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
As long as he never forgets, he drank Yellowtail once too. That's
You got to.
we all started somewhere.
Yeah, we actually we took a family vacation up to Maine, and him and I went to one of the local breweries, and then we went to a distillery, and he was with me. So it was cool because he was new to he had like a month in to being a somm, and so.
But the whole experience.
Oh yeah.
The way
for
you
me,
see things.
for
Yeah.
me, it elevated it, and then we went back and we recorded like a one-off little podcast, which is you can find it on there. It's really cool.
Sitting at dinner, all of a sudden, it's like Drink Talks Live. I'm like, no, we're not. Oh,
I'm sitting
hey.
right here.
Brian decided to do it on his own, and that was great. It was it was a great podcast. So go back and check that out.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we didn't have the cool microphones and all that. We just had my cell phone.
It worked out
So,
great.
but it
though.
worked. Yeah,
Sound
it worked
fine.
You know, sometimes those are just real moments.
Yeah. Yep.
And I feel that people appreciate it, as opposed to the manufactured media that brought us all
Hey,
together
we're
tonight.
all gonna
I
be
guess
talking
we're going to start talking about that. Yeah. So the actual talk today is going to be on news fatigue, and those of you that watch any amount of television that have not cut the cord,
You
I
don't even
should
have
say.
to watch TV.
No, it can be on the
gosh.
internet. It can be on Facebook. It can be social media in general. But I think people are getting super tired of the news in general, media in general, I should say. But
I know.
but here's the thing: we're entering election season. That's coming up here in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it's just gonna
Registered voter right here.
it's gonna turn that dial up to 11. Like Alzuri with his microphone that we were talking about earlier. But yeah, the political ads on TV, the yard signs, the radio. We're just gonna get a constant stream of bashing other politicians and not what you stand for, but what the other guy did wrong and
sensationalism selling.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think people are getting tired of it, and I don't have like a lot of facts and figures to back this up, but like every person I talk to is tired of it. So I gotta feel that that's kind of the pulse of the general public, that they're getting tired of it too. And there are some stats on viewership levels, and I know some of that is cord cutting, but it's amazing to think of where we're at. We're going to get there in a little bit.
Well, going down to our current president right now, Trump, he's saying, fake news, fake media, all this sort of jazz. So people are kind of like, why is he talking about, news this way? And they start doing their own research. It's like, well, these news companies are only owned by a few people, and they only tell us what they want us to know.
They have an agenda.
They do have an agenda.
Yep. And we have talked about these. Where was my notes on there? So yeah, we've done a couple episodes on this similar topic already. We did a fake news episode. That was actually a 2-part, which I'd forgotten that it was a 2-part, one in May and one in June of last year. With Rich.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we need to get him back on the show. Rich, if you're watching,
get
back on the show.
We did the
Miss you, Rich.
Media Slam episode back in January. And then we did our mini series to combat that. We do our uplifting news because we got tired of seeing all the crap on television and news and all that. So we started a little mini series of uplifting news,
just good, positive things that were in the news.
Yeah, exactly.
But they get buried so hard.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like a minute and a half right at the end of the news, like nobody's watching.
Yeah, they've already turned off.
Look at this cute puppy. All right, see you later.
I know there was a hurricane a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Oh man,
who saw coverage on that one? Everybody. But now, to be fair, it was the strong. Was it Florida or was it the United States? The strongest one that it hit.
In Florida for sure, though.
Yeah, because what was Katrina? Katrina was a Category 5, but I couldn't remember the sustained winds.
Correct, but this was like 2, and I am not claiming to. I'm regurgitating
what you
I've
potentially
been fed.
heard. Yeah.
Yes. Like it was 2 miles shy of being a
2 mile an hour shy.
Yeah,
because it was 155, I believe.
Yeah,
2 miles an hour.
2 miles an hour.
Sure, at one point that 2 miles an hour was made up.
So what you're saying is it's the
came around the building a little faster.
It's the Pluto of hurricanes, is what you're saying.
Correct. It's like so close to being worth a damn, but not quite.
So it wasn't a Category 5 when it hit? I thought it was.
No, I believe, and again, so my
anyway,
daughter's
we're playing into this. We're playing into all the
but I'm
coverage.
Guessing based on the pieces of information I have to absorb, because my daughter was actually stationed down at Tyndall Air Force Base in Panama City Beach. She got evacuated.
That was almost like Ground Zero, wasn't Panama? Mexico Beach was Ground Zero.
Oh yeah, which is where I always stay when I go down to visit her, which I don't see that happening this year.
No.
But the thing is, like, so for me, this was kind of like a personal thing because I knew my daughter was safe, so it wasn't a fear. But they were not under the impression it was going to be as severe as it was. So she left her car, and some stuff in her apartment, filled up her car, went out of town with her boyfriend.
Probably because they were thinking the media is just blowing it out of proportion again.
Right.
Correct.
It's going to hit, yes, but is it going to be, fire and brimstone?
And then turns out,
it was pretty bad.
So you said she said she was safe. That's kind of a new thing on Facebook now. Everybody's saying, I'm safe during the storm. I almost put out today that I'm safe during the winter weather storm that we got today here in Omaha.
Dramatic.
Yeah. Remember when?
Yeah, remember
2018.
It was October,
never forget.
And it snowed.
Yeah.
I actually had a huge branch come down in my front yard.
Really?
Yeah, it clipped the side of my car a little bit too.
Yeah, a little
Didn't
damage.
just a little dent.
Well, there's power outages in Omaha, and you're like,
oh yeah.
But in the grand scheme of things, you're like, it's October.
I know, right?
Yeah, you're like, Britt, do you have power so we can have a show? I'm like, yeah, no, we'll be all right.
We'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Those of you that don't have power, sorry.
Yeah, David's on. He's watching. Hey, David.
Hey, Dave.
And Kevin. Hello. Thanks for joining us, Kevin and David. Yeah, no, looking back, I was like, wow, we do a lot of episodes about the media and
Absolutely.
news and all that. So,
Well, it's the hottest topic. It's current. It's relevant.
Well,
It's
where would you get your valid information?
YouTube.
Fair.
oh man, yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Well, so here's the thing with a 24-hour news cycle, it is so hard to be able to, what you said, find what is the truth. What
do I need to know?
Exactly.
What is real?
Yeah,
I think I need just a little bit more of that because that's good.
So yeah, I do want to take a little bit of break on that because I did go back to the blended one, and what I noticed right away was the sweetness level it's a lot more sweet than the other one.
But the regular one doesn't have the same body and not nearly as complex.
It's got the wide, oh the Glencairn class.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no, this is good.
We just have more whiskey to
And-
I just wanted one more little sip.
Did
of
you
that.
did you want to like zoom in on this real quick? Because
I don't know if I can do that. I probably
a little
can.
bored. I'll back away a little bit. So just so for those of you, the
There we
little
go.
Easter egg of what we're drinking here.
I don't know. The public could see it possibly, but we'll see. Yeah, we got a new little chalkboard here next to the monitor, so we're trying new things out, and hey, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't.
Yeah, no,
I know I need to tone down my monitor. I don't know if I can down the brightness of this thing. I'm sure I can, but I don't have batteries in the remote right now, so it's just not going to happen right now.
Welcome to real
Not
life
gonna happen.
problems, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, Cassie, thanks for joining. That 24-hour news cycle, I think that's done a lot of damage to people just because it's so easy to get tired of it now. Before, you had the news on at, the 5 o'clock news and the 10 o'clock, and that was it.
So at work,
three different channels.
Yeah, at work, I have a monitor above my computer monitor, and I usually turn it on the news, because, I want to see what's going on in the world and all that stuff. And it's like, so like every hour, there's a new news program of different people or whatnot. But it's like, you hear the same old thing. And then 1 hour later, you hear the same old thing. And then, 1 hour later, it's the same old thing. I'm just like, music videos.
But you can't
can I
you
just
can't
get some
turn
music
off
on?
that news feed because you're waiting. Oh, if they're reporting, am I getting something new? Am I waiting for that moment?
Yeah.
Right.
Or the moment where we're waiting for someone to enter, like the president, to enter the room.
Yeah.
And they're just like, here's the live feed of just a podium. We're waiting though. He's coming.
Anytime he decides to grace us with
Exactly.
his presence.
It's it's funny. It's like an hour of coverage of a podium.
It's like the pregame for the NFL. I mean, it goes on for 3 or 4 hours
Right.
beforehand, and yeah, the pregame goes on longer than the actual game.
That is so true.
Especially in boxing.
So true.
And then the postgame, the wrap up, the highlights.
Speaking of boxing, last night,
Bud
I missed
Crawford
it.
our buddy Crawford in Omaha
came
won.
out on top.
Woo-hoo. Nice job.
Yeah.
Which I was surprised. He went 12 rounds, and Crawford is really good for about 8.
Still
and
got the knockout.
Yeah, he still got the TKO. Knocked that guy down. And the memes are flying right now on the internet for the guy that got knocked out. Just like, I came all the way to Omaha for this. He's just there on the ground like, arr.
Yeah. And if he's in town still today, experiencing this weather,
Yeah, right.
kick him while he's down. Hey, Brad. Good to see you. Thanks for joining.
I love that
That
pop
is-
showed
yeah.
up on the.
Oh, I love the pop.
Yeah, you should have put that closer to the microphone. We do love
no,
those
That
kind
was
of
so
sounds.
unintentional. That was made it great.
Nice. That's a little bottle. It's a wee bottle.
It is, and I do have to.
Is that a 375?
It is, but there's a sad moment to go.
Oh, I
with
need
it.
to. What are we doing it in?
You just
the
need to
tall?
finish up is what you
Yeah.
need to do.
Either you dump it or I will. No, scientifically. So
I'm gonna cleanse the.
We need a
palates.
little lazy Susan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, your son's got a train set. We can just do
actually,
the
that
train
would-
set.
train.
might be a little loud on the microphone.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's all right.
So now the one
When the trains are moving, then the shots are coming.
the one downside to this, and this is my fail, is I thought I had a 375 of the regular Knob Creek in my personal collection because I do not care for the regular Knob Creek enough to buy one. and I didn't want to bring one to here because I'm like,
It's just interesting. Can we put them?
yeah.
Actually, yeah, we need to move the tequila now because we're done with the tequila.
Well, we can just
Oh,
put
yeah.
these guys right up in front.
Right in front there.
There we go. And bing, bada, boom.
For those of you
Right
joining
in.
us, we are
So
moving on to the Knob Creek after the tequila.
tragically, we're going to be doing a bourbon versus a rye. So I will admit, ryes for me are made for cocktails. They've got a really spicy front palate, and not as much on the back palate. This Knob Creek Single Barrel, however, at 115 proof, is gorgeous all the way through.
115.
A
Which one is
mild.
this one right here?
No, we haven't poured.
Oh, I was gonna say the smaller.
Haven't poured
the
it yet.
375.
We're working on it.
The bourbon will just be a delicate 100 proof.
Mm-hmm.
And I will admit, when it comes to tequilas and rums, I love it at the 80 proof.
Just grab it
Yeah.
out of the glass.
It is what it is.
But whiskeys, you get below 90, I'm out. I'm bored.
All right, we're gonna do the tall and skinny first.
Tall and skinny. Now, it is a bourbon versus a rye, so it wasn't my perfect scenario because, again, I thought I had one at home. It's like, I'll just use it because I wanted to burn it out. I'm like, oh, let's just take it to Drink Talk and get rid of it.
Sure.
I'm glad we could do that for you. Thank you.
You guys are givers.
We're doing this for you.
So now I will admit, Knob Creek. So I'm not by and large a giant Knob Creek rye supporter. Just not my palate. There's just a lot of other good whiskeys as well. They make a fine product, so I'm not slamming them by any means. But we wanted a single barrel rye because we've got a bunch of bourbons in the store. We wanted to do a rye. They sent the coolest setup for their single barrel selection. It was a wooden box, 3 samples, a colander, a water dropper, and here's the best part. They sent a 200 milliliter bottle of Kentucky water. So Kentucky water is the source of why they think Kentucky whiskey is so much better.
Huh.
Because of the natural limestone in their environment that acts as a filter. So
Actual natural
so
filtration. Yeah.
open this box up. It's a full-on tasting kit. And you're like,
Nice.
this is really cool. So, and then we tried them, and they were fantastic. This rye is incredibly rich for a rye, and even at 115 proof, it is not fighting you.
Right.
So, but let's drink the 100 proof bourbon first and get it out
That's
of the
the
way.
tall one, right?
That's
the tall
the
skinny.
tall one.
Tall skinny.
Salute.
Salute.
Jeez.
Yeah, that was,
Love the clink.
that was a nice clinky.
It's good. Tastes like
Oh
bourbon.
yeah.
It tastes like bourbon.
Tastes
It's
like
got the burn.
It
for
is
me,
100 proof.
Yeah, for me, the 100 proof. I was actually
Yeah.
expecting more of a burn.
I can feel it going down.
Yeah, it
Which
is
nice.
It's warming.
Yeah.
It's
but
warming.
it doesn't burn.
Yeah.
The really best thing about whiskey and the higher proofs is it fights you less. When you get into those higher proofs on whiskey, yeah, you can. When you get in the chest, you can feel that warmth.
Oh yeah.
But actually, when it's on your palate, you don't get those sharp, jagged edges. You get more of that rich, velvety, warm profile. So now
Yeah,
let's drink
that's
some
what
rye.
that's what I'm getting on that one.
Yeah. Cheers, cheers.
Cheers.
This is really
We're doing our little private cheers over here. Oh, wow. Completely different flavor.
correct.
Completely. 100 like
That one has a little bit more bite to it.
And it's all up front, though, isn't it?
It is. It is up
And
front.
that's the spice from the rye.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about rye versus bourbon, rye is going to use obviously more rye grain. Bourbon's going to use more corn. So that's why something like a rye, great for making a cocktail because all the spices stay, and so all the things you add to it just complement that. But at 115 proof, that's not fighting you.
no. I was going to say this I actually like better. I actually like
Like
the
The 100 proof.
The bourbon.
the bourbon, yeah.
So I am by default a bourbon drinker over rye.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was good, but
But
I just like this one better.
But now this bit right up front, like the very front of your tongue, the very first thing you taste is spice
Yep.
and a bite.
I agree.
And that's rye. That's why it makes a gorgeous cocktail because that spice and then up against like in a Manhattan, you're going to combine it with sweet vermouth. That's going to round out those characters, but the whiskey flavor is going to stay strong. So in a bourbon, you're adding a sweet vermouth to a rich whiskey, it kind of drowns out and becomes, kind of one note. But with a rye, it's going to stand up, and it's going to really allow those flavors to pop and give you a more complex, more interesting cocktail.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
No, I dig both, but for me, I agree with Britt. I like the 100 proof.
then you'll love the next one.
Yeah. I was actually, when I got to the 115, normally with 115 proof spirits, you have to add some water to it to bring it down a little bit.
And
you almost don't need to.
there's
with it.
nothing wrong if you want to put water in it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I definitely
That's why I got
believe-
nice
yeah.
ice cold water here for you guys.
I personally do not, only because I spend so much time drinking while I'm talking. So if I put ice or water in it, then I'm fighting my time.
Oh.
Whereas, so for me, here's another fun experiment, which is not official on the whiskey approved.
But we're going to try
Way
it
to
now.
do
We're just going to wing it right now.
I take a sip of cool water, just drink it, and then I'll follow it with a sip of the whiskey. What happens is that water has protected my palate. I've got
Cools your mouth down.
got a small cool layer of water. The whiskey will float across the top of it, so I'll actually get more flavor in different parts of my palate.
Like immediately after?
Yeah.
Because we're going to do that
because
right
down.
now.
when
Down
you
for trying
sip
it.
the whiskey, you control where it goes, right? You keep it down the center of your tongue.
Yeah.
Protects your palate, and you get a. Now all of a sudden you're tasting it in the cheek.
Yeah, I don't
It
get
almost
it.
it almost has a different taste to it now.
Correct.
Like it doesn't. You don't get anything up front
Yeah,
because of
Yeah.
because your palate's protected.
yeah,
That little bit of water has protected your palate. Didn't numb it because you're not drinking ice cold water.
right.
So that's how I drink. So I get, because if I put water or ice in here, then I'm chasing time.
I know, right?
We got a little-
one little gnat in this.
I thought he was
Yeah.
going to put his arm around me at
I,
first. and then,
it probably looked like I almost punched you in the face on the camera.
Yeah.
It was zoomed in on you.
but that's how I actually drink whiskey at home, because, I don't. I don't
We
want
should be
to put
drinking
water.
water anyway.
You should.
right?
Water is your friend.
Yes.
Hydrate. Please
Yes.
drink responsibly.
Exactly.
That's the end of the commercial.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. No, I really.
We've said it though. That's all that
Yeah,
matters.
Right.
The 100 proof is delicious, delightful. I love, but I'm a bourbon whiskey fan.
I do
anyway.
prefer bourbons.
And I am a rye fan, but again, like you said, in mixed drinks.
Ryes make a great cocktail.
Yeah.
Speaking of commercials, that's another reason why I don't like watching the news.
Oh God.
Commercials,
Well,
Sell me
yeah,
yet another thing.
yeah.
right?
What gets me is when you have a commercial break and it's one commercial and it's a drug company trying to sell you some of their drugs.
And a happy puppy
Yeah, here's what I don't get about it.
comes
is,
with walking on the beach.
Who do they think are watching? That's what I don't understand.
well, that too, but it's like a minute
Old
and a half.
people.
Yeah,
Old people.
What does it take for a 30-second commercial? And now you've got a minute and a half, 2-minute commercial for a drug company. How much did that cost? A. Oh my gosh. And B, they're listing all the side effects and all this and consult your doctor and all that. Who's buying drugs off of a commercial?
Right.
You're going to your doctor anyway, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're
So-
not ordering from this commercial.
I'm not calling that 1-800 number, but please don't do this
Yeah.
if your doctor said don't.
as seen on TV.
This just triggered something because we were talking about old people and stuff. We were actually tonight at dinner. We were talking about my grandmother and how much she loved watching QVC.
Oh,
And she had an old tube TV, and apparently QVC used to just have their logo
The
and
scroll
the
down
phone
the bottom.
number right on it,
Yeah.
and it burnt into people's TV, and so they were calling QVC like, "You've ruined my TV." So now apparently QVC moves their logo around every half hour or every 20 minutes so it doesn't burn an image into your
She
TV because
literally
you
had
watch it too much.
You could watch it. You could see it burned in the bottom of her TV. It was crazy.
Wow.
But I mean, now with the upgrade of TVs, now they're LED or
They're much
LCD. Yeah, they're not going to burn an image in. But I mean, this is a plasma TV, so I mean,
Yeah.
if I sat here and watched QVC for hours on end, I'm
would-
sure it would
it would
burn the
be
image
right
right
down
in
the
there.
bottom.
It would.
All right, I do want to bring this train back on the tracks here a little bit.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about CNN a little bit.
Okay.
So,
All right.
the,
Well, if we talk about CNN, we probably got to talk about Fox News too.
and that's fine.
Vice
That's
versa.
yeah, we can totally do that. So
It's the
CNN,
volleyball court there.
yeah, CNN. That they were like 70s, 80s. Well, really in the 80s and 90s. And even they were the top dogs, man.
They were it.
They started off real small. But
So, are you guys old enough to remember Desert Storm?
yeah, I
Yes.
remember it.
And
that's
the
where they-
fake news that they
Oh my-
created.
Oh, sorry.
That's where they became big.
Right, you got
was-
paper towels right beside you. No worries.
I thought you finished
No,
that
it's fine.
one.
That's where they actually became big, was Desert Storm.
And you're like, what the?
Yep. There's actually a movie. I wish I could remember the name of the movie. There's one with
just a teeny bit.
yeah. I'm glad the bartender did it first, right?
Well, actually, I thought it was empty. That's why I was like, wasn't worried about it.
I can't remember the name of it. It's Michael Keaton and Helena Bonham Carter, and it's CNN going over to Desert Storm and doing it, and it's a really, really good movie. I wish I could remember the name of it. But it shows how they got their, like how they blew up and became the voice of truth, the truth in advertising or truth in news, or what's the James Earl Jones quote that for CNN?
I don't know.
But I was completely fooled by it. I was a teenager. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is, as long as I watch this, I know what's going on.
Exactly.
But then I didn't know when to turn it off.
Yeah.
Well, what got me is, I mean, you can go on YouTube and check this factually. When Desert Storm was going on, they actually filmed a skit of them actually being over there, and they're like, the sirens are going off, and they're wearing a helmet, and it was all done on a set. It was all fake.
Well, but that,
You know?
that was in the movie actually. I remember that part.
Yeah.
It's in the
It's like, why would you even do that?
Live from Baghdad.
Yeah.
That's the name of it.
Yeah.
Yes. I
So
remember
so
that.
your news, you're supposed to report factual information, and you're creating a scenario that's fake. It's like, no, this doesn't make sense. Maybe you don't have the budget to go over there, but don't fake it.
Right.
You know, don't fake it.
You know where they are today?
Before.
I don't know.
They're behind Food Network and Ancient Aliens on the History Channel
Oh wow,
for viewership.
that's actually a good show.
It is.
It's
It's
good
fun.
show. It's a fun show. Aliens. Well, yeah, that was our last show.
Yeah, we did.
It's entertaining to watch how
It
it
is.
connects to history, and you're like,
I don't know if you checked out our last show. We actually, Mike, good friend of mine, he wanted to come on the show, and I was like, yeah, come on the show, man. What do you want to talk about? He's like, aliens. And I'm like, yes, let's do it, man. Absolutely, let's
What
do
better
it.
Why not?
thing to
Yeah.
do while you're
Well,
drinking?
he used to live in Roswell, and
Oh,
he used to
okay,
work at a
yeah.
news station in Roswell, and so
everything's
people would
being-
come
yeah.
in with tapes, and he's like, that could be the moon, that could be a helicopter, that could be anything. You know,
Well,
that
the
could be a
trick with-
star that's bright.
Here's the thing: the trick with the term "unidentified flying objects." Of course, they exist. You know what that means? We didn't know what it was.
Yeah, right.
It was flying,
It's a UFO,
and we didn't know what it was.
yeah.
Yeah. So of course they exist.
Yeah.
Doesn't.
Doesn't mean there's actually little tiny green guys inside of it, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, no.
he said he's convinced. He's totally convinced there's aliens, and you know, I'm impartial to it. You know, but
We don't need to go over.
yeah, we
hash
don't
that
need.
time.
We don't
that
need to
time.
hash that anymore.
Yeah.
That's a
So I want
different
to get back to
media.
CNN.
Exactly.
You know, the viewership on it. They're at like 500,000 viewers.
Really.
Yeah.
And they created this though.
Well,
So
I mean, yeah.
were they the first news network to be like a 24-hour
I
news?
want to say
network?
yes,
I would assume,
but
you know,
I don't.
They were the
honestly
first
know.
one of recognition, regardless.
Yes, yeah,
because
agreed.
no-
News all
because
the time,
None of us.
24 hours a day.
None of us know of something before CNN.
Right?
So
Because they were kind of the pioneers. They were the
right.
originators.
Even if somebody beat them to the
Wait,
punch.
Weather Channel?
Well, that's not really. I mean, it is.
I mean, it
news,
is
but
news.
yeah,
You know,
it's
a little
on.
too specific.
who was
though.
first? CNN or
I do like the infograph.
viewing
Just-
public? Could you please look that up? Who was first, CNN or Weather Channel?
I do
It'd
like
look rude if we
the.
did it on our phone.
Have you seen the infograph on the weather man and his sleeve length? Like down here, it's perfectly fine. When it's rolled up 1, it's like, oh, it's there's some rain. When it's rolled up like 2, then oh, we're getting some snow. When it's rolled up like 3, then it's like, oh, tornado or hurricane. And then
never
there's
even
like no
thought of
sleeve. It's
that.
like apocalypse.
I never even thought of that. But yeah, it's who's our Channel 6 guy? Rusty Lord.
Yeah.
He does. He rolls it up. Rolls it up.
Exactly. The further it rolls up, the worse the weather is.
It's great.
That's your. It's like a weather rock.
I have quit listening to weather. Nope, I just don't care.
Yeah. It's
I'll open the window.
But I mean, when you think about it, like
you could just take a dartboard and be like, that's going to be 75 today. Sweet.
Yeah. Well, like down in Florida, we just talked about the hurricane that went through there, and they were not really prepared. Not everybody was prepared for it because they probably got tired of listening to the weather all the time.
It was over sensationalized, and everyone's saying, "Oh my gosh, it's the end of the world," and they do that for every minor weather moment. This one turned out to be significant, but again, how many times you hear in the middle of nowhere, Oh, tornadoes are coming. When was the last time we had a
What was the
real
one that just hit?
Yeah, well, but they want to alert people to
Well,
what's going on,
but
and
that's the
I like
difference.
that.
Are we alerting? Are we selling? Because that's just it.
Right.
Logan just answered your question. Weather Channel was 1982. So
Okay,
I'm assuming that was before CNN.
that was before.
So Weather Channel was the first 24-hour news station, essentially.
Yeah. Thank you, Logan.
But the thing is that the problem with the news is you don't know whether or not you're learning what you need to know. So yeah, you put out this alert, and then how do I keep people hooked?
Oh, he was still doing that. CNN was 1980.
Oh,
So
so
2 years before.
Oh, okay. Well,
Man.
then there you go. Bada bing, bada boom.
That really surprises me. Well,
in
okay,
1980, I cared more about the weather than I cared about the news.
Well,
It's just being born.
So CNN started in 1980, but they didn't really get big until the Gulf War.
correct.
So were they a 24-hour news cycle in 1980? Probably not.
I don't think they would have had the viewers. There wasn't something to report.
Yeah.
Until
So it might still be correct with the weather, because once the Weather Channel came out, wasn't that like
it
immediately?
was all the time.
Yeah.
Because of their own channel. You know.
So
Well,
CNN
CNN was their own channel.
CNN
too.
was probably first as far as a news corporation, but
But what do you get?
24-hour news cycle.
You just get repeat. Well, but that's what the Weather Channel did. Local on the 8s, you always got the same thing every
oh sure
10 minutes.
Oh yeah,
I forgot,
Yeah,
I
local
forgot
on the
about
8s.
that. A local on the 8s. I totally
because I
remember
don't
that.
watch the Weather Channel. You
Yeah.
know why? I have this convenient little
Yeah.
device
Yes.
that
Right.
just tells
The
me
wealth
what's
of human
happening right
knowledge
now.
in your pocket.
That you needed to get a new screen on.
I'm really Google smart though.
There you go.
No, but back to the viewership on CNN. So now, if you take like all of the news, that's Fox News and CNBC and MSNBC and all that, that equals about 4 million viewers, all of them combined,
Really?
which is
That seems not that much.
like almost, it's a little more, it's like 1.5% of the population of the United States. Now, a lot of that can be attributed to cord cutting, all the people that are ditching cable.
Absolutely.
Cable.
Absolutely.
I don't know if that number includes people that are watching online. Probably not. It's probably viewership.
I'd cut the cord on cable myself, but they're like, for $5 more a month, you can have all these, like 32 channels and free HBO. I'm like, whatever, I'll keep it for $5. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, we're talking, what's the population in the United States? Like 380 million, roughly? 360 to 380.
Mm-hmm.
So at 4 million, you're talking 1.5%, not even 1.5% of the population is watching news.
Oh, wow.
Then why are they all following the same?
Now you can. I'm assuming you can, because like I don't watch the news, but I read the news, so that's not going to count towards viewership.
Well, yeah. I mean, at your work, they always get the newspaper and
That and also I have my news app where I can go with stories.
Reddit?
That too. Reddit's great because now there has been some things that have come out about Reddit that some of the things have been artificially put up there.
Oh, but it was on
promoted.
Snopes, so it's totally true or totally
That's
false.
yeah. Well,
See,
I don't know.
helps. But now you're back. to
Snopes
his
is owned
spot.
by somebody, and he has an agenda too.
What can you do to actually learn something? Like so you trusted Reddit as a source for how long?
for probably a couple years.
And now all of a sudden there's something that comes out that says, well, they made this up, or there's false content on here. Like, but
Well,
now
and that's
now
the
you're
thing.
lost.
That's the thing I loved about Reddit is because the Reddit is a community,
Right.
really.
Of people posting.
Right, and
Just like YouTube. It's just a
Correct.
community of people
Right.
posting.
And the stuff that's going to come up first on that first page is things that people upvote, and they don't upvote things that are fake. They downvote those things to oblivion. So fake news really doesn't happen. I mean, I'm sure you could find it on Reddit,
Right.
But
You're
at
not
least
making
that,
an ultimatum.
that
on
They
first page.
doctored that picture.
Yeah,
I know they
God,
did.
yeah, they will find. Yeah, they will find that out, and they will downvote that to oblivion. So that's why I liked, especially you get in the first page or the first few pages of Reddit, you can find some interesting things out, and it was breaking fast. Like you could hop on Reddit and find things out before you were hearing about it on the news, which was really interesting.
No, was that because they didn't have to follow the same like guidelines, censorships,
Absolutely.
lawyers, and other?
They have what's called mod bots, and they kind of monitor, but they're more monitoring for language and stuff like that.
Correct.
And if you're posting something that's not supposed to be posted in a certain subreddit, that's what it's looking for. But yeah, I was kind of blown away that there were some. It's not fake there. It was just promoted posts that were getting higher than they really should have been, which I was surprised by. But yeah, I think that nicely done, Alzuri. Very nice.
That was good.
I think the fact that when you look at the total viewership for news,
Come on, it's awesome.
The sound effects
awesome.
are great.
Yeah.
We were actually down here rearranging the studio on Thursday night, and we were after we got done doing the studio, we hung out and drank a beer, hanging out, and I don't know what sound happened, but I was like, how cool would it be if I had like a little sound effects board and I could just be like, like whatever sound effect I needed. Just press a button and we're good to go.
You just get that glug glug glug.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's still we still got it. I heard it in my earballs.
But this is actual live entertainment right here.
Logan did kind of do some more research. Thank you, Logan, for doing the. We don't like doing research like while we're on the podcast.
Yeah, so
disengaging.
we. But now that we have this nice big giant TV now, which I'm going to have to tint down a little bit. I now have a keyboard and mouse, and it's connected to the internet, so we can start doing research. But being as though it's the first day that we're trying this new studio, I'm not going to test it out quite yet.
Yep. But what he said was Ted Turner rolled out CNN in 1980 as the first television channel to provide 24-hour news coverage. So it was prior to the Weather Channel.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
And now you have it.
Yeah, and now
Shooting
now
star.
the truth
The more
happened.
you know. Yeah, the more you know.
Thank you, Ted Turner.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank
How'd
you.
that
Thank
work
you,
out?
Logan. Yeah.
Yeah. Cheers to you, Logan.
Yeah.
All right. So this break brought to you by.
Here we go. Buffalo Trace.
Bringers of such fine whiskeys as Weller, Pappy Van Winkle, and a whole
Now-
lot of other things we can't get our hands
I
on.
didn't know they brought Pappy.
Now these are your guys' own Buffalo
So-
Traces?
We have the standard release, which is in itself a great just go-to whiskey. I'm spoiled because I get paid to drink. I do not find the standard Buffalo Trace that exciting. But then we had our single barrel. And I was like, now that's some really good whiskey. So there was absolutely
No, hang on a minute.
Yeah, okay.
Didn't you guys had one made for you guys?
yes.
Yeah, the single barrel. That's
Single
what you're
barrel.
talking
This
about.
one right here.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So one of them is made for just you guys.
This is
you
our
bought the barrel. They aged it for you and all that
This
stuff.
is our barrel.
But the other one is
Their standard
theirs.
release, which
their
is
standard release, gotcha.
which is great, and I just like having the comparison because, man, I could do a whole class just on single barrel. Just line up one whiskey. I've got 6 different whiskeys from the same company, all just different barrels, and none of them. If you tried them a month apart, they taste the same, but right there next to each other, you're like, man, these are really different. Fun thing about Buffalo Traces, so this is a particular mash bill they use. It's the same mash bill they use to make Eagle Rare.
Okay.
So everyone's familiar
Yeah,
with
sure.
Eagle Rare.
Yeah.
Eagle Rare is a single barrel release automatically. So they only do single barrels. But here's how that works. When you're not a good enough Eagle Rare single barrel, you become Buffalo Trace. Because you're still good.
Sure.
You just not
Not
special.
that good.
What's the is it Weller that like if it's Pappy, which is rare.
When
rare.
you're not good enough to be Pappy,
It's Weller.
you're Weller.
Yeah,
Which
and there
is still awesome.
it is. Yes, somebody here locally just had like a pallet of Weller on sale, and somebody like posted a picture of it, and
So
that was probably gone quick.
I'm sure.
Jack's out in Fremont this last year got a single barrel of Weller Antique 107 proof.
Mhm.
It was amazing because somebody got me a bottle. 'Cause
Sure.
next year's our turn for that barrel. But
Yeah. Do you watch the?
Please and thank you.
yes,
Do you watch the Whiskey Vault on YouTube?
Mhm.
Oh, those guys are fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's how I learned about
Okay,
Weller.
so
Yeah.
this one first, the small one.
small one.
This
Tall
and this
skin-
is just
tall
the what
Just
you can
good
find
whiskey.
generic
Yep.
at every store.
Every
regular
Buffalo Trace carrier.
And this
Perfect.
is
Oh,
Yeah.
smooth, it's easy. It's
Oh
goes-
wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Unbelievably
Just
smooth.
good. Just
Yeah.
good bourbon.
Yeah.
Uh,
I am less. I know of Buffalo Trace, but I have not really had a lot of it. So I am less familiar with the flavors of
I've
it.
had a few.
Have it one or two today.
So again, though, it used to be advertised as a 9-year plus whiskey. A lot of age statements have filtered away.
Can I see that bottle?
Yeah.
Thanks. Go ahead.
And then they're, like I said, Eagle Rare uses the same mash bill from a different part of the warehouse that has, but a little bit older.
Sure.
But the same actual grain percentage, distillate, then put in a barrel and let time do what it does.
Yeah, it's smooth. I don't really have a warmth that goes down. It doesn't hit you hard.
It's too short of a finish for me.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't stick with me. But it's like, man, if I'm going somewhere, I
I
don't know
would
what they drink.
Just burp and then it'll stick with you.
I would say if I was trying to get someone into bourbon or whiskey,
right there.
yep, that would be.
Oh yeah, that'd be the smooth goer.
It's
Yeah.
got a great flavor. It's just checklist great bourbon.
Mhm.
Now we get to our single barrel.
Now, with that said, I have bought this from you guys, and it is amazing. This is your second run, or is this
Second run.
Yeah, I was going to say you did a first run, so I haven't
this
had the
is much
second
better.
run yet.
This is
I
better.
did the first run, but I haven't had the second.
So I'll let you guys drink it. But even on the nose, you get so much
Oh yeah.
more.
Oh, well,
All
cheers.
right. All right, yeah, we could cheers.
Exactly. We could.
Yeah, we all just got real excited.
We did. We did. I'm super excited about this.
Richer.
More of the barrel, more of the. You can taste
There's a little bit more of a bite to it,
Yeah.
but it's not like an overwhelming. It's more of a just letting you know it's there.
See, and I don't get more. Actually get less alcohol bite from this, but more flavor. Like in mid
I was
palate,
just going to say more flavor
I just
than that one.
taste so much more.
Speaking
This
of
one
that,
at the end of the palate, I feel a little bit burn at the back of the throat.
See, I didn't get any of that with this.
I
one.
mean, I can even just see in the color of it.
Just
This one's like a light yellow, and this is
I have a
more
blue
of a,
glass, so it's
yeah, that's why I didn't put.
Well, and
even
you
if
can
you
just
look
see
at
in the
bottle.
bottles that yours is a little bit lighter.
So what we have
Or
learned
actually, I don't know,
without
a little darker.
a little bit darker on ours.
Yeah, a little darker on yours.
What we have learned as from Lori's and my palate is that most of the stuff we pick comes from a higher floor, which increases the heat, which gets you more barrel
Hold on.
influence.
Higher floor. So you mean there's floors in a warehouse or something like
Correct.
that, and you're picking from a different floor.
Correct.
Okay.
We have noticed that
actual
most of
floors.
Yeah. No,
most of the-
I've never heard that term
well,
before.
Rick levels, I guess. Sometimes.
Well, I
don't
guess
know.
what was that place that is in Kentucky that
That would be Barton.
where the place all the
by-
barrels went
Yeah.
down.
Well, half of them went first.
And then
The other half.
I would have gotten a forklift
By
in
the
there
way,
real quick. I'd be like, let's get
that is-
all this out of here.
that is owned by Sazerac Brands. That is part of the Buffalo Trace
man.
family.
Oh man.
But here's while they're
Sorry to hear that, Buffalo Trace.
By the way, that whiskey is incredible. You guys might have made a mistake or two on something called Barton.
Mhm.
That same distillery produces incredible whiskey.
Hmm.
Yeah, you remember that jug of vodka?
Yeah, Barton's vodka. That's what I use for
Oh yeah.
for making my amaretto because
Yeah.
it's rot gut. I mean, it's
But they make
like $9 for a 1.75
incredible
liter.
whiskey.
Really?
Yeah,
No idea.
but that's you got to crank something out to pay the bills.
They've got it dialed in.
Well, that's what a
you're telling
lot
me.
of distilleries do. Is they do a
Gotta
vodka.
pay bills.
Yeah.
I need to put out a product to pay rent, to pay taxes, to pay these yahoos who keep showing up for work
So I
every
can
day
actually do what I want to do, which
while
is
I'm waiting patiently for something that
Amazing.
I'm really
Yeah.
excited to produce.
Yeah.
So Barton Distillery produced the 1792, which is incredible. We've done 2 single barrels from them. We did a standard release, and then we did their full proof, which is 125 proof, and it was amazing stuff. So
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's Buffalo Trace is great. They're both awesome. The first one, which was
should
where
like-
you could just find it at the store,
Yeah.
super smooth, super easy.
Yeah.
I would say
but yours
introductory
has the one you guys have that is your barrel that is only sold at your store.
only at our store. The best way to describe it is like
It's got a lot more flavor.
taking what you like about Buffalo Trace and turning the volume up.
Yeah.
Oh man, that second
There you go.
draw on it
Yeah.
was way better. There's
It's-
some I'm
there's
getting
just
some
a
caramel
lot
flavors.
more- yes.
Oh man.
By the way, people out there who don't drink regularly, when you're trying straight spirits, make sure you do 3 sips before you make a judgment. I drink professionally. I usually get it done in one. But yes, if you're not used to drinking straight alcohol, it's so important that you take 3 sips before you make a judgment call.
Yeah, because that second one was completely different.
Talking about 3 sips before you make a judgment call, I'm going to refer it back to we were with the folks tonight for family dinner, and I had just got done eating ice cream, and I was like, hey, Dad, I'm going to go get a bottle of wine because they were out upstairs, and I hadn't had one yet. And he's like, oh, you didn't get some of the last bottle? I was like, no. And so I was like, oh, here, try some. And I was like, and I had just got done eating ice cream. And so I was like, well,
I really didn't.
it's it's good. It's okay. And he's all like, you didn't think that was really good? And I was like, well, I just had ice cream. He's like, go get another bottle.
Because
the ice cream destroyed the flavor of it.
Yeah.
That turns out that creaminess from ice cream
And
on
the
your
sugar.
Yeah, the sugar just destroyed it.
Because I'm assuming you're drinking red wine.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then-
of course.
And all of a sudden you end up with this like weird tannic dryness.
Yeah, no, it was not. I mean, it was. I mean, like I said, I like red wine, and I thought it was okay, but I was just like, it's not amazing, Dad. But if I would have had some water, rinsed out my mouth, and then had some, it probably would have been a lot better flavor.
You know, the problem happens when you get into complex whiskeys and even these tequilas is that there's plenty of brands out there that are just putting out something, and not a poor brand. Like, I'm not saying that they're cutting corners. You know, there's a lot of popular brands that make great products, but they're trying to make it as palatable for the largest spectrum of palates, period. And
That's going to be this first one, the Buffalo Trace.
Correct.
Yeah, the first one.
This is still a little bit more unique and still more.
I would say if you're in the whiskey category.
Correct.
Or whiskey.
So, like, if, love Jim Beam and everything they do. We'll pick on them for a moment. But their Jim Beam white label is boring. But it's good whiskey. It's well made. They're not cutting any corners.
Sure. That's why they're still in existence. People still buy it.
That's why the Japanese bought them, because
you know what you're doing.
But the thing is, like, and it's so important, like, you need those brands because that's the gateway. It's just so important that when you have somebody trying to talk to them about some of these, I'm trying not to bash brands, by the way.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're talking about the liquors, and it's great. It's fine.
When you make a liquor that's so easily appealed to the largest spectrum of people, it's a bottle of who the hell cares, because anyone can take a shot of your whiskey does not make it good. It makes it mediocre and unoffensive. Take a stand, make a profile that you like, and let the people who love you, and then don't worry about everybody else. So
right.
I was out. I was out at a bar with a buddy of mine. He just wanted to talk about life, raising kids, being a dad, getting stuff off his chest, work, all that, those talks that you have at the bar. And so we're sitting there, and it's later at night during the week, so there's really not a lot of people there. 2 guys came in, younger guys, and one was like full suit, and he said that he had gotten like a promotion or something at work. And so we're like, oh, hey, congratulations and all that. He's like, I want to buy you guys a shot. We're like, well, we're not doing shots, but okay, whatever.
Well, hold on. I never order shots.
Yeah.
I never turn down shots either.
Yeah, right. It's like, okay, cool. And so they bring them over, and I smell it, and I immediately know what it is. Fireball. And I'm like, okay, all right, it's almost whiskey. My favorite description, I don't know if you've seen the YouTube video on it. It's they're high-end, there's a male and a female, and I think they're high-end Scotch, like sommeliers.
Okay.
And they are doing a whiskey. It's like anything goes, and they're doing Fireball and whatever. And one of my favorite things that the guy says is, he's like, it's like you took a handful of Red Hots and then downed it with grain alcohol. That's Fireball.
That's exactly what it tastes like.
So,
he's like, the only thing that you need to do to make this a better whiskey is add more whiskey.
Yeah, put some whiskey.
So, Pitbull Fireball.
Oh yeah,
Right?
I'm on
So-
Fireball,
Right? So I play that.
which
from-
is fun.
It's fun. It's a.
It serves exactly its purpose.
Right. So I play that in the club from time to time when I'm DJing. I'm wondering the increase of sales because of that song.
Oh,
I mean,
for sure.
Well, it also the increase of sales when I play LMFAO's shots. Shot. Shot. You know, it's like, go to the bar and buy a shot. I'm
yeah.
going to play the song. Boop. You know?
Bartenders appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Bartenders. Well, the owner of the club appreciates
You know
that.
what's great about a shot? Oh, there's
There you go.
$2. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Easy-
took me
e-
like literally 2 seconds.
Don't get me wrong. I love making a craft cocktail, and I really appreciate the science. But you know what I really like as a bartender?
A shot.
Getting paid.
yeah,
Done.
yeah. Because you can make how many shots for every one
I
old
get a
fashioned?
lot. However, there is a good
Oh yeah, that's a
cinnamon
good. That's
whiskey.
a good scenario. If you make an old fashioned, which maybe takes you about 3 to 5 minutes,
Yep.
maybe not, maybe a little less than
But
that.
still only
But
one.
you could do probably 80 shots in
and
that
I'll
time.
get $1 every one of those shots.
Exactly.
So that's why I'm technically a craft bartender, so I'm not. We'll get up on our high horse and it's like, bartending's about making money too. So
Oh yeah, absolutely.
yeah, pay bills.
It's the name of the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you get a lot of shots.
Let's
out.
get back into this news stuff.
Yeah.
We really haven't talked too much about it. It's all right. We got a lot of booze to drink and.
Yeah, we need to get to the second part of our name and actually do the talk.
right.
So
Well, at this point, we can just drink whatever's here.
Exactly.
Nice.
At some point, what I'll do is I'll just run upstairs. I'll grab some ice cubes and put them in
Okay.
some cups, and then pick your
just hang
favorite, and there you go. You get
Nice.
yourself a drink.
Perfect. Yeah, and then we do need to talk about what our favorite was on this.
Exactly.
All right. So another reason why I think there's declining viewership in the news, and I don't care what side of the aisle you fall on, but I think a lot of people are getting tired of the Trump bashing by the news.
Very good, sir. So, in relation to CNN and Fox News, there's not a whole lot of Trump bashing on Fox News, but there is. I mean, don't get me wrong. So there's the Fab Five or something like that. There's a show, and one or two of the people on that show actually disagree with Trump, and so they're on there just for banter and good conversation. Just like this show, that's you bring in different views of different things, and it's actually kind of encouraging, and I like how Fox News has actually done that. Whereas CNN is just purely let's just bash our president,
Yeah, it can do no right.
right.
And I think people see through that and get tired of it on both sides.
Our president, yes, he's done some stupid stuff, and
Yeah.
but here's what it is. Bottom line, he's our president. It's not going to change. Good luck impeaching
People have
him.
spoken.
But yeah, it's the people have spoken. This is who's in office, so let's just ride with it.
If you
And
really
I'll
don't
tell you
like
what,
it-
in 2020, if you don't like him,
You've
go
got a
out,
new-
vote.
got a
Do your
choice
thing.
coming
Yeah,
up.
you've got your choice. And if the people vote him in again, well, that says something. So yes, the bashing of the president, I'm not really for it.
I think
There's things that he does that are great. There's things that he does that are bad. But needless to say, he is our president.
I think everyone can agree.
I don't want to get too
every
political
president.
on the show, but
Right.
it is what it is.
But I think any president in office, there's going to
Yeah.
be things that they do that are good and things that they do that are bad.
And
Sure.
we won't know it until after their next term. That's just it. The choices they make now is today.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
So it's like,
Could be the next president's term
yeah.
that
Right.
we're seeing the effects.
So don't, unless he's
That's why I say like the
physically
first.
coming to your house and slapping you around.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's like so and again, we don't want to get too political on
Yeah,
there. But
I'm not Democratic. I'm not Republican. I'm really going for the better person.
Yeah.
And Hillary was not the better person.
Okay,
of
now you're getting political.
now that yeah.
But yes.
Yes.
So any president that says within their first year, "Oh, look what I've done to turn things around. Look at where we're at now." It's like, well, I mean, those still might be after effects from
Those
the
are
last
still
guy.
policies that are being
Right.
run through. Like,
Yeah. Even
the country
maybe
doesn't
year
change
2,
overnight.
but by year 3, yeah, okay, I'll give you year 3 and 4, and
Right.
especially if you're a second term president.
Right.
So,
But yeah, all the hatred I mean, why? Why? I mean, is it upping your ratings to formally bash people?
But it's stirring people up.
That's what I want to talk about next.
Perfect.
Ratings driving content.
Yep.
Okay.
That's where we're at today.
Yeah.
It is not the news that's driving the content. It is pure ratings driving the content. That's why we're seeing what we're seeing, because they want the ratings, not because of what the actual news is.
But like you were saying earlier, CNN's ratings are right there with Food Network
Viewership level.
Yeah. So, I mean, doesn't that say maybe we should change our platform and do something different? I'm sure that that's probably going on right now. Like, who's got a good idea?
Yeah.
You know, like,
Well, and here's the
let's
thing.
figure that out.
Like, Food Network's on at our house a lot, but the reason it's on is because it's background noise.
So,
I mean, I watch it from time to time.
Carly
It doesn't
likes
offend anyone.
Carly likes to
Causes
put it
no
on,
grief.
For sure.
but I tell her not to put it on because I get hungry when I see it. So, like, don't put that on.
Yeah. Chopped. I love Chopped.
Now, if you want to cook whatever they're putting up there, then
Yeah.
sure, put it on. But
Yeah. Ever since that show Chopped, that's how I enter the kitchen now. Like, okay, I got peanut butter, I've got tuna, I've got cookies, and what can I make?
it's a peanut butter tuna sandwich.
I kind of thought that was just a man's way of walking in the kitchen. I don't really want to go to the grocery store. What do I have?
I got
Exactly.
cheese sticks. I could cut that up.
Yeah,
because
make it
I don't
look all-
have sliced cheese, so that's perfect.
Make it look all fancy. Yeah, absolutely.
Wrap it around the carrot.
But the thing is that, so you still get back to the media though, and you're still stuck. So you want some media, and it still does look like ratings drive content,
Yeah.
but you don't.
That's all you. I mean, almost all you see.
But to what extent? Like who are they grabbing? Because if their viewership's down that low, clearly what you're doing is not working. So then they're going to do something else to be more
Well-
sensationalism or whatever.
And they're so, and I forget that there's a scale that they use like on a daily basis on their ratings, and so they can, even within their viewership level. Let's say their viewership level is 1,000,005, which is pretty darn low.
Yeah.
But let's say it drops to 750, and they're like, oh, what are we doing or what are we not doing that's causing the dip to get half our viewership? So they can still play the ratings game, even though overall,
it's still not
in the
working,
grand
yeah.
scheme of things, it's still low. That's what I'm talking about with the ratings. And also, if they have people that are buying ads on their radio spot, or not radio spot, it could be radio spot or the television spot during that time frame of the news. If they're having more or less, that would be a good indicator of ratings. Oh, we got people clamoring for this spot. We must be doing something right. To a point within your small little field. Yeah, okay, great.
Like, trying to think of the least offensive way. In School of the Blind, the guy with the best eyesight.
Oh, I would love that. Yeah.
That's not the one I was
the
thinking
guy with
of.
one eye is king.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I love that saying. In the land of the blind, the man with one eye is king.
I was thinking the same thing.
I do.
I was actually thinking the same thing. I was like, the very first drink we had was actually pretty darn good.
Nice. I'm gonna finish these, and then I'm actually gonna go. Okay, so here's the point in the podcast where we actually talk about one of our. So that's your vote for the favorite one.
Yeah.
So I won't say
I'm
it's
not a
like
huge
favorite.
tequila drinker, but
But
this
it
was
stood
actually
out.
pretty darn good.
That's why. Because there's lots of the whiskeys are great, but a tequila stood out. You're like, okay, that's really what I'm in the mood for then.
No, that doesn't mean in like 20, 30 minutes when this is done. Something else, but
You did change my mind with tequila. Like seriously, I am not a tequila person, and I would drink that.
The hardest part is just imagine you guys did a beer last week, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
A couple of them.
actually for the last 5-8
I know
episodes,
I
we've
wasn't going to
done
bring that
done
up.
beer.
I was just going to just stick with last one. But
Sorry.
the thing is think about it. If Bud Light and Busch Light were all you knew about beer, would you still be a beer drinker?
Some people would say yes. I would say no.
But
I mean, that's
so like if you on the tequila side, and again, I'm not bashing any product. If all you know is Cuervo or the other end is Patron, would you care? Because
Yeah.
neither one of the tequilas I brought today taste anything like those.
right.
But back to the media coverage, how would you know?
Now,
Because a commercial told you.
I
Right.
think if we do this is great. I love how we did some taste testing of, it's the same liquor, but different barrels and all that stuff. It would have been actually pretty cool if you would have brought, like Jose Cuervo, just the one step down. Well, you know what I'm saying.
You'd have to drink that.
Well, here's the taste tester of, here's the generic, regular, what everyone buys, and here's the better stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, the only reason
That'd be the next step.
So, as long as if we do that, there's no way I could hide my true opinions on Jose Cuervo Especial, which, if you read the bottle, it's not even called tequila. It's called Jose Cuervo Especial, made with blue agave tequila. Doesn't say it is.
Yeah, it's
Right.
made with.
Now, Jose Cuervo makes Tradicional, which is blue agave and it's actual tequila. But that's not the one people are buying.
Sure.
So that's the catch. That's where I'm like,
Something I've always heard of, but I've never actually done is eating the worm.
oh, by the way,
never done that.
Good
That-
place downtown.
so there
I'm-
is one liquor in Omaha that does have the worm still in the bottle. It's called Monte Alban. It is in Oaxaca. It is called a mezcal.
I've heard that.
Do you know what the whole thing with the worm is?
Are you kidding?
No, I'm serious.
Of course I do.
All right.
By the way,
Drop some knowledge.
that's how
Exactly.
we make fun of Americans.
Because they want to eat the worm?
Because there is no worm.
Because so at one point in time, tequila has to use blue agave. Now, when you have an entire culture that's doing this giant export of one crop, have an infestation.
Yeah,
It's
agave is a
traumatic.
plant.
Correct.
Yes.
Takes 6 to 8 years to mature. So when you have a spirit that has 120% growth, well, that's going to top out because can't grow. But at any rate, years ago, they had an issue where they had infestation. So the worms were getting into the agave. And so when they're cutting it up and they're roasting it and they're doing all, the worms were just showing up. Bottled it and put it out and convinced an entire cultural nation that that's how you know it's authentic.
Oh,
It's authentic.
oh, jeez.
So there is still one product in Omaha that I know of that still has a worm in it. And I had this kid in the store, and he was trying, because he's been to Mexico.
Yeah.
So
I've
he-
done the real stuff.
He was trying
Yeah.
to talk to his girlfriend about how much he knows more than I do. Sorry.
It's all right. It's just a little
And
angle.
by the way, there are people who know more than I do, but I'm really good at this.
Yeah. It'd be hard to find someone.
So some 21-year-old kid trying to impress his girlfriend about mezcal in front of me
Because he's been to Mexico.
because he's
Right.
been to Mexico. This is how you know it's real. I bought this off some guy in the back of a truck. Doesn't make it legit. in here in the U.S.,
He sold
that's
you
called-
frankincense and myrrh too, right?
It's like, oh my gosh, like just because some guy told you this is real because he sold it out of the back of a truck
In Mexico?
in Mexico. Man, you're lucky you're not dead. That's all
Right.
I got for you.
Yeah.
Years ago, so
You
Back
just
to
bought
whiskey.
formaldehyde and you're drinking it.
So back in
And you're going to die.
1897, we started the Bottle and Bond Act for American whiskey. It didn't have to be whiskey, but just for spirits in general. What this did is, up to this point, Old Forester was the first officially bottled whiskey in the United States. Okay, up to that point, you had people buying barrels of bourbon or whiskey, whatever it is. To stretch their whiskey out, they would water it down, use tobacco and turpentine to color,
Oh,
and
sorry.
sulfuric acid to mimic the burn.
Wax that floor, gonna make it shine.
No, I was
Wax that
sorry.
floor with
The-
turpentine.
The turpentine made me. Well,
I'm
that
saying.
made me
I
think
mean,
of
that's what you
Tombstone.
did.
Yeah,
I don't know if you know the line from
I
Tombstone.
do know Tombstone.
I'd rather drink turpentine and piss on a brush fire.
I'm the Huckleberry. I love that movie.
Oh yeah.
Very good, sir. Very
Yeah.
good. But yeah,
So that's just
that's
it.
where
When
that's where the worm came from.
That's where the whole worm stuff comes from. There's a lot of myth, and they will convince Americans that, oh my gosh, it's intended to impart a power of the worm to your soul. What?
what?
What the what?
Go eat dirt. I mean, might as well.
Yeah. So, no, worm is not your friend.
No.
I have actually, there was a bar downtown that had a bottle of that Monte Alba and said, I'm going to drink this. I'm going to make it go away. You have to promise never to bring it back. I can power through it.
And I know you said that there's a supplier that has one, but it's not common anymore just because it used to be a thing. And
Correct.
So now it's more of a nostalgic, and that's why they're putting it in there.
Did you guys see Poltergeist?
Yeah.
Poltergeist,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Do you remember
Yeah.
Poltergeist 2 when he drank the bottle of liquor that had a worm in it and became a whole
I don't
horror
remember.
moment? Okay.
I was younger.
Yeah. I'm not
He
saying
went
go out and
down the
watch
path
it.
of the devil,
I'm just
is what you're saying.
like,
Yeah.
but no, like you know, it was sensationalized because it was interesting. Might as well be a media ploy.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm
Good tie-in.
Yeah.
Good tie-in.
Because and that's just it. Here in the U.S., we and this is just my opinion. I'm not speaking for anything, but we crave that next level of entertainment. Feed us knowledge, but I don't really want to work hard for it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know that what that reminds me of? It was a movie based in the future that everybody just craved entertainment. Remember what movie I'm talking about?
I got a handful of them.
Running Man
Oh, yeah.
with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes.
Oh.
Ready to go.
Gillian, like,
Oh,
man.
Yeah.
Yep.
love that
Running
movie.
Man, that was a great movie.
Oh.
I actually want to sit back and watch that tomorrow night.
I'm sure like half the audience is like,
Jesse Ventura.
What? No, that's what they wanted. They wanted
entertainment.
entertainment. And there's actually been a lot of movies since Running Man that have done the same kind of culture of this is the new thing,
The
you know.
dystopia.
This is the new Bachelor. This is the new, whatever.
Oh, did you guys see the new Ready Player One
No, I haven't
from
seen it
Steven
yet.
Spielberg? It's actually really good if you want a nostalgia kick.
Because it looks like a whole lot of
Pretty much.
Steven Spielberg movie cameos.
Well, yeah. It's a cornucopia of nostalgia is basically a good way to describe that.
See, I'm a big fan of the Goldbergs. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's either Wednesday night or Thursday night. I can't remember right now, but it's on ABC. But the Goldbergs. He's a movie producer now, but like back when he was young, he recorded a lot of his lives. He kept a lot of journals. And now he's just redoing his life over again of how he lived with his family. And he was big into film, and so he always had the camera going and stuff. And it's funny because they'll do the whole show, and then sometimes at the end of the show, they'll actually play his recorded version.
Oh, really?
Yeah, of what
See, that would be
happened.
cool.
And it's like, oh, no, this was a real thing. This has actually happened, And it brings back Star Wars, and it brings back, being in high school and junior high. And
You mean have to build the models for Star Wars?
yeah, I mean,
No
it's
CGI
actually
for you.
it's a neat show, It's like this was real life for somebody at one point in time back in the 80s, and that's how they start the show. It's like, yeah, they start the show. It's like sometime in the 80s, and then they kick off the show.
I remember we had
Great
this
cast, by the way.
really cool console TV that had like a deck for the remote control. It's like you pressed like
Popped out.
Popped out.
Oh yeah.
Oh man,
wow, like I don't have to be right here.
I could go over there and press some buttons. My first TV was a dial black and white TV. It was tube. Well, of course it was tube. It was yellow and black.
It was like that mustard yellow.
Mustard yellow and
I
black.
remember that thing.
And I was able to actually hook my Nintendo up to it. There was a way you could do it with the two things on the
UHF
back.
thing like
the
that.
UHF, the two-prong thing on the
Yeah.
backside. Yeah, no, that's
My wife bought me.
nostalgic.
I got one rant, and then we're gonna get back into the topic.
All right, fair enough.
So my wife bought me the new Nintendo NES, the small one,
Oh, nice.
and it's got all the stuff on there. And I immediately started playing, and it brought me right back to late nights, sleepovers at a buddy's house, and you stayed up till like 2 a.m. playing Mike Tyson's Punch Out or Super Mario Brothers or
Duck Hunt.
Castlevania,
Contra.
1942. I
Right.
mean, oh yeah. Excite Bike. I mean,
Right?
that's yeah.
You're like, come on, run. Okay, now I'm back on the motorcycle. All right.
Yeah. Don't hold that jump too long because you're gonna land on your back tire and you're not gonna go fast.
No, you gotta.
What was that? Whatever the track game where you take a spoon, you'd run over the two buttons because it was too hard to hit both of them.
Right.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Take a spoon. I didn't even know that trick.
man,
great.
dropping some old school
Mike
now with it.
Tyson Punch Out.
Yeah, which is no longer called Mike Tyson's Punch Out on the new one, but it's the same characters. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
King Hippo and all. Oh, the Maharaja or whatever. Oh
And
gosh.
you're this tiny little dude.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then that giant Asian guy every fourth fight or something like that, or third fight. Yeah. Oh
Mega
yeah.
Man, Metroid.
Oh,
crap.
Metroid. I loved Metroid.
I loved Metroid.
Yeah. But the thing is, if you go and you buy it, the console is like literally like this big.
Yeah. Oh, well,
And everything's small in it.
everything's small nowadays.
Even the cable. The cable is literally like this long.
one mat.
So you have to buy an extender or a Bluetooth. But
Right.
all right, that was my rant.
Well, anything nowadays, it's like, hey, we'll give this to you for free, but you want anything else, it's going to cost you this.
It's got 30
Well,
games on it. It's like $40.
By the
That's
way,
not
that Apple has, like, oh, we're going to sell you a phone, but you can't plug a headphone jack into it. We're going to have to sell you a cable for that.
Yeah, get a
We're gonna-
Bluetooth headset.
You're going to do a dongle. You're gonna,
So before I decided as a grown up I could go be a bartender, I had a real job at once. And I worked with technology.
I think
and
yours is a pretty awesome job.
it is. It's awesome. But the thing is that one of the first thing I noticed is that I watched printers printers
Oh, yeah.
being expensive. No, we'll
the
give you a
printer
printer.
cable.
Yeah.
The printer
We'll
cable.
give you a printer.
Yeah.
Here's this 2 foot, like, oh, it doesn't quite.
What was it?
fit.
Lexmark printers were like $30,
What
but
was
if
that
you had to buy
cable?
the ink for it, it was like
And-
60.
Correct. You see it in your razors. And you, like,
Oh yeah.
it's in your cars now. Like
That's why you do the Dollar Shave Club.
What was the 30-pin cable that it came with? You remember that big,
do.
huge 30-pin cable?
What are you talking about? The
Printer.
LPT1.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
like
Oh, yeah.
huge printer cable
Yeah.
that came with it. Well, it was big and then it went small and then big again. But then now it's USB. But like I totally remember plugging. It's like ooh, oh, and then like oh, I have it wrong. You flip it around. Same thing with USB drives still. But I have a little trick for USB drives. You guys know that there's a cut on the bottom of USB drives. Put that down, guys. People out there, USBs, put it down.
Britt, you have to flip it 3 times. It's wrong,
Wrong.
wrong,
Right.
still wrong. You gotta,
No, just that little cut that's in it. Make sure that's downward, and
Yeah.
it'll insert in your computer 100% of the time.
usually they put the Bluetooth symbol on the top, so you can actually just look at the Bluetooth symbol and make sure that that's up.
Okay, fair enough.
right,
Back to the news.
Yes, back to
Back to the news.
All right, the last thing I have on it is kind of like my final thoughts.
Sure.
All right, so here's the thing with news fatigue. The biggest problem I see with news fatigue is we as a nation need an informed public. And if people are getting news fatigue, we're not going to have an informed public, which is
Sure.
a big problem because politicians can use that to their advantage.
I think I heard of a situation a couple of years ago.
What do you mean? I mean, don't let a thing go to waste.
I'm trying not to go political. So the reality is, when we looked at the last presidential election, what we had was a different voter existence than
Okay.
we'd ever had before.
Right.
We
We
had-
we had an angry public that was tired of the same old thing and wanted something new.
See, that's not even remotely the terms I would use.
That's the term I would use.
What I saw is a lot of people who didn't know enough about politics saw somebody who didn't know about politics, and they thought that that was their
They saw
guy.
a businessman and they wanted the country to run like a business. I don't know.
No,
I saying it wrong?
We're gonna delve into some politics here. I mean, that's,
I'm trying to avoid it, but
thank you. I appreciate
but
that.
what you had was a certain group of people who never bothered voting before suddenly decided to share their voice.
Okay, that's a good. That's
that
a way
happened
better way
with
to
the
put it.
previous one too.
Correct.
So
But this time we brought out an incredibly uninformed public.
as did the last one.
Right.
Just FYI.
But this time
I know,
more. It's Brian. There's
One
always,
hurts more
It's always going
feelings
to be,
than the other.
but it's always going to be more. It's never going to be less. There's always going to be more people. So
Because
this
more-
one was bigger than the last.
well, just because of the amount of people that are actually getting into it. I mean, I don't want to spend a lot of time on politics.
Sorry,
because it's so polarizing. And
give 2 cents.
I hate that they're so polarizing. Here's the thing.
Because I'm not talking about politics.
Right.
No.
I'm talking about how people got
Voters.
their information.
Yeah.
Okay, so how people are getting their information right now with social media.
Good,
and that
huh?
can be anything from Twitter to Snapchat to Facebook to who's still on MySpace? Nobody's on MySpace anymore. So
I've got my page still.
Yeah.
I'm floating in outer space.
Yeah. So if you're doing news in short snippets, while you're not going to get the news fatigue, you're not going to get the news.
You're not learning the whole truth.
You're getting headlines, and that's all you're going to
Yeah.
get. And the news isn't really in the headlines; it's in the body of the actual article, which is why I read more than I listen to the news.
Headlines just there to grab you.
Exactly.
Right. Headlines. Here it is. Right. You've been eating this for years. Check it out at 5.
Is it
You know,
peas?
you're like,
I'm eating peas right now.
yeah, right. Is that not? Yeah. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It will kill you. You're like, wow, man.
I think that as people get more and more news fatigue, which is happening on a staggering level, I think personally, but if that continues to happen, politicians can use that to their advantage.
And they already have and they will.
Absolutely. Look at any big thing. If there's a story that comes out and all you hear about is this story, that's not what's happening.
What have you missed?
You're missing something. There's something that is they're making it big because they want to make a lot of noise over here. So over here you can steal a $10 million painting off the wall and nobody knows the way.
Pass a bill.
That was your
Or a
pop
movie
culture.
once.
Yeah, that was a pop culture reference right
We
there.
can pass a bill and you don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
That happens all the time.
All the time. There's this noise over here. Oh my gosh, the
Pick a
government's
fight.
doing this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
You
Make a big deal out of something that happened 40 years ago, and then pass a bill that nobody knows about.
I remember in high school getting in a situation where we wanted to do something, but we needed distraction. So the goal was just have Alzuri pick a fight.
It's the same thing. It's been going on.
it's the same thing.
Like,
Oh,
but back then I didn't realize I was that political about it. I'm like, no, just all right, why not?
Anyway,
any other final thought? Because I'm done with mine, and I just wanted to talk about the fantasticness that has happened right over here. This was delicious.
thank you, Spirit World.
And thank you, Spirit World. Thank you, Alzuri. So your guys's, you went with the tequila.
I went with tequila.
Which one? You went the
Single barrel. I still enjoy this. I'm not trying to take anything away from what they do.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk about the ones that aren't single barrels for just half a second.
sure.
It's so important to realize that there is no class, there's no special skill that you can be taught on blending. So you're taking every unique, weird barrel and creating consistent product that I can put out every time. That is somebody tasting these barrels and putting them together. So that is incredible. So these people that put out consistent products that spend time, any time in a barrel, that is worth acknowledging. So I don't want to say anything negative.
I love how they did the batch number on there and then the bottle number on there. It's
You want that because there's such
wide varieties between everything.
especially if you're doing single barrels.
And that's why the single barrel has my name on it and my boss's name, Lori. If
'Cause
you're
you could-
listening, Lori, we talked about you.
Alex is on. He's
right.
watching.
Alex,
Hey,
we love
buddy.
you too.
Yeah, we'll have to get you on an episode of Drink Talk for beer
I'm gonna
sometime. Alex is the beer guy over there, so
he's actually awesome. So
Yeah.
on
He is. He really
October 27th, we're gonna do a spirit and
That's a Saturday, right?
Saturday from
Okay.
3 to 5. We're gonna do a spirits and candy pairing.
Interesting.
I'm not committed to what spirits yet.
no, we did kind of a pairing. We did Girl Scouts
I've done that
with beer.
I did that years ago. Sorry, but no. So
I won that challenge, by the way. Brian, remember that?
but on that day,
Oh yeah,
With Mitchell?
Yeah, the cookie challenge.
So
the Girl Scout cookies.
Mitchell went ahead. Mitchell is now the brewer over at
Brickway.
Brickway, and he made notes. He was like, this could go with this cookie and this could go with this cookie. And I was just an IPA guy, so I just bought all IPAs, and he brought all.
He brought like 12 different kinds of beers, and I brought like 4, and Britt like 4. So he's like stacking the deck.
Right. So, but I knew all 4 of us were IPA lovers. Yeah. At the end of it, I took the gold.
Yeah, he did.
That's what
He
it
really
is.
did.
But I brought really good IPAs.
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't the cheap stuff.
I still like the Knob Creek. To me, it's a tried. Knob Creek is a tried and true.
Oh, it is tried and true for sure.
The Buffalo Trace was fantastic, and I hadn't had that Buffalo Trace before.
It's amazing.
But for me, like, I know Knob Creek. I've had Knob Creek for a long, long time, and this still surprised me because it was delicious.
Because it's a fantastic product. So just because I don't care for it, this is one of the things that I have to work with people all the time. When they ask, what do I like? Whoa.
My palate is way different.
I like things for what I like.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't like carrots in their pot roast. Doesn't make their pot roast bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, once you start getting into whiskeys, whiskey is like saying the term beer, right? Just because I don't like IPAs doesn't mean I don't like beer. So the same thing with whiskey. Just because I may not drink a particular scotch or whatever, which is not true, but just somebody could. Just because you
for
don't,
argument's sake.
Yeah, for argument's sake, just because you don't drink scotch doesn't mean you hate all whiskeys. Bourbon has rules. Scotch has. Comparing a bourbon to a scotch is like an IPA to a porter. They're technically in this category, but they're not the same. A cab versus Chardonnay. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know what you mean.
So
We do need to. I think next time we have you on, we should do a wine thing.
Wine.
That would be a.
By the way, make cocktails with wine.
I'll tell you what.
That'd be really interesting.
We can do this right now. Let's start at the beginning of the year. Let's do some January, and let's do a wine edition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wine.
Oh man, yeah, that's
And
coming
we'll
up
teach you
quick.
how to make
Man,
cocktails.
it's mid-October.
Although I have to point out,
October.
we're making cocktails at the shore.
Now, if we do it sooner, it's okay. But
Right.
We'll shoot for January.
So I'm glad I brought just the straight spirits, because working cocktails here,
It's tough.
I
Are we gonna have to do like a back at the bar?
Well, here's what
episode?
it is. I can get a tray, like
yeah.
see this rolling cart right here that the thing is on. I can have something off to the side for you. Yeah.
just
There we go.
just
Just so you can have a mixology.
That's a tripod stand
like
that's 6
sitting
feet
here,
tall.
like-
Yeah, no, this tripod is 6 feet tall. I can actually use the tripod instead of the 4 feet that it's on.
okay.
And you can use that cart instead. Yeah. No, we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
We can even have a dump well for you.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're winding down on the talk.
Yeah, no,
think we
I
need
mean,
to
I
close
think it
this
was
up.
great. Hey, get your news not from the news network. I think you should get your news online where
Well,
you want to seek
you
your news
actually have
from.
to work for
But, don't
I
diss
think
the
the-
news, otherwise it's just going to go away.
I think the viewership level speaks for itself. I
Yes.
mean, if you total all of them together, it's like 4 million people, which
But that just implies an uneducated.
or they're getting their news from somewhere else.
Well, here's
Like
what it is.
reading it, or because that doesn't go into viewership levels, social media, which
Are you trying to tell me that if I read my news on a paper, I'd get a less bias?
No. Guys,
potentially.
I got it right here for you. News organizations get their news from a source. Go ahead and choose the source that you like watching. Yeah, I mean,
but then that's what is that confirmation bias?
right. But if you enjoy what they're putting out, then watch that.
But then
So wait, no, you can't get it from one source.
I was gonna say it's confirmation bias.
Yeah,
So
okay.
one of the dumb things I have
All
to
right,
do.
thank you for proving me wrong then.
I have to read. So when I'm trying to study about alcohol, I have to Google it. Not that I trust the information I get from Google. And I'm not saying that there's lies, but what I have to do is learn what people are learning, to then take every bit of actual hard-earned knowledge I have on these products to then share it.
Sure.
So yes, I am knowledgeable about everything we have here, but I still have to read Google just so that I can understand what information is being shared.
Oh sure, yeah. Well,
So-
and what probably the top results are what people are searching most for.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely.
By the way, never drink while you do that, because it's a black hole.
That's yeah.
but he said, she said.
Yeah, that's how I feel about YouTube sometimes. The rabbit hole of
Oh,
YouTube.
God.
Sure.
Yeah. I do want to mention something real quick before we sign off. In preparation for this, I did seek out a television series that is fantastic. It actually,
Is that what you sent me?
I did.
I didn't
and
watch it, so
Alzuri and I
yeah.
talked about. Well, no, so that was a YouTube video. That was different. Don't
Gotcha.
worry about it.
All right.
So Alzuri and I talked about it before the podcast. So there was a television show that was out from 2012 to 2014. It was called The Newsroom. It was with Jeff Daniels, which most people know from Dumb and Dumber, because he was the second. It was Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels, but the
I've
first.
seen him in other things.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. There were a lot of
But
other things
good
that he was
call.
in. Yeah. So, I'm appealing to the audience here. Anyway, so the first 8 minutes of the pilot episode, the first episode of the program, went viral, as it did in the show, which
Sure.
was kind of cool. It was like art imitating life. So he talked about he was kind of like like a Tom Brokaw or any top level news caster, and he had said something in a panel, and he was just listening to the noise of the two politicians next to him, and
Sure.
he just went off on the way the news is, and it went completely viral in the show.
What was the rant from the movie?
Newsroom. It wasn't a movie, it's the show.
It was a show? No. I could have swore there was a 1986 movie.
1984, but I mean
1984.
that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, that's way
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's not it.
Yeah, so any of you that have a Amazon,
You got to get mad.
oh, I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore.
Exactly. That news guy. I thought that was
wasn't news. I think that was politics,
That was.
and that was
Well,
Michael Sheen.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, any of you that are Amazon Prime members can watch this on Amazon Prime Video. Newsroom, they have both seasons on there, so you can watch it for free if you have Amazon Prime. And I would encourage you to not just only watch that first 8 minutes, because it's fantastic.
I got to write this down.
Yeah.
Or just remind me after the show.
Just watch the first show.
If you
And
What was the name of the show?
Newsroom.
Newsroom. All
Don't
right.
worry, just rewatch it.
And
Exactly.
they're 1
I
hour.
will.
Yeah, they're 1 hour
I always do.
episodes, and so it's a pretty quick watch. I mean, they're not 20 minutes, so it's a 1 hour investment. But after one episode, you should say, "Oh man, I gotta
The only
watch
complaint I
this."
had on it is when I tried to watch it, I just this seemed interesting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do something else, and I forgot I was doing something else. I was pulled into the show.
Yeah. Ozarks did that for me. Ozarks on Netflix.
Oh, yeah. That's on my queue. That's
really,
on my-
really did that for me.
For sure. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talk about that, so it's on my queue. But yeah, my final thoughts are: I am worried about the news fatigue in that
People will just quit watching it.
they're not paying it. People are not paying attention, and
Right.
when people stop paying attention is when politics just gets crazy.
Or they're getting their news from the wrong source, and it's not the right news.
Yeah, they're still not paying attention at that point.
The gal I'm saying thinks I don't watch the news because I don't share opinions.
Mm-hmm.
No, I just shut the heck
I
up.
just don't care. I just don't care.
I just learned to just keep it to myself.
Yeah.
But to her, she's running that same fear. She says I just suffer from media fatigue, and it's like because I just quit letting it affect my daily life. But to her, I talked about the situation my daughter was in from being at a Tyndall Air Force Base, and then you know what she did? She got online and
Looked it all up, yeah.
and now she was crying last night, and not like insensitively,
No.
but it was like that's just life. You can't let it bog you down. Oh, you just don't know what's going on. I'm like,
You know what I did? So last,
my wife. So Guyver was doing something, and he's like, "No, I don't want to." And my wife literally looked at him and was like, "We all do things we don't like doing all of the time."
yeah, welcome to adulthood, kid.
Exactly.
you are just one step closer to being an adult.
Last year, I'm a religious person, so for Lent, I like giving things up. And one of the things that I gave up last year was social media. Now, because of what we do, I
Yeah.
had to maintain a minimal presence
within
on
a-
it.
yeah.
just to keep that.
He wasn't
profile.
on there for Brian. He was on there for Drink Talk. That's
Yeah.
what he was
Correct.
on.
Yeah, so like I didn't. if it didn't pop up when I opened up Facebook and it wasn't right there, I didn't look at it. Like I completely did away with Facebook and Snapchat and Twitter and Instagram.
Probably made your life a lot more simpler.
There was so much free time. Holy cow. A lot more free time.
Yeah.
But really,
But what do you do when you're on the toilet?
yeah, I don't suggest
We
you
can talk about that here.
Yeah. I don't suggest doing that like for a longevity thing, because then you're going to be uninformed.
Sure.
And that's one of my favorite quotes from Denzel Washington is, if you read the newspaper, you're misinformed. And if you don't, then you're uninformed. Which
So-
is a really cool quote.
That is a great quote, actually.
I actually have no social media, like me personally, have no social media presence. But I spend so much time in front of
What do you
people.
mean? I friended you the other day. No. Give me a hard time.
Lies.
But that's just it. But for me, the reason why I never do is because I spend so much time interacting with people.
Sure. You don't need it.
For me to
You
for me
want them
try-
to know you as a person, not
Correct.
as a digital person.
but I get all their opinions because I still am a bartender, so I'm getting
sure.
all their opinions, all their spheres, all their random thoughts. Like
Left, right, middle, drunk, whatever.
Yeah, right? This is me.
By the way,
this is me.
once they're all drunk, almost all of them like each other.
Oh,
If
absolutely.
they're navigated correctly.
Hey. Right?
They have to be navigated correctly.
Nice.
Very good.
Well done.
Don't say the wrong thing.
All right. That's all I got for this one. Are
Yeah.
you good?
I'm good.
You good?
That was
All
great.
right. All right. Well, I thank you all for joining us.
One thing I do have to say.
I know, yeah.
So we're happy to be here, Spirit World and all that stuff. But
Spirit World,
yeah,
where we
I was-
at? We're on 60,
67th Center.
67 Center,
Exarban
Exarban Village. Yeah. Check
If
them out.
you saw something we tried tonight, and you come in Spirit World. And
Can you zoom in on those, Britt, again?
Oh, yeah. This is the last minute of the program. I'm
Correct.
like, you got to be watching to the end to actually receive this gift, right?
So-
what's the
Oh.
gift?
You come into Spirit World, you say, "Hey, I watch you on Drink Talk. Please come in and mention that, and we will give you 10% off of your purchase."
10%.
That is so awesome.
That's great. You spend $100, I'm going to give you $10 off.
Now, is that on merchandise? Is that at the bar? Or what are the specifics on this?
10% off if you come into the store.
Say, hey, I was listening to Drink Talk.
Now, by the way, we don't have a real way of gauging this, so please don't be a jerk and do this 3 times because that's not cool.
No, well, what happens if they just
Yeah.
if they're a return customer and be like, Drink Talk, Drink Talk, Drink Talk?
Yeah.
Hey, then you know.
But just
Yeah.
we're happy to be here. We want you guys in the store. We have great products.
Yeah.
Please come and see us.
This is just
Yeah.
a gauge on who's
Yeah.
listening and who's not, and so those listeners out there that want to buy their alcohol and get a discount on it, might as well get 10% off and go to Spirit World.
We're also trying to hand out our cards a lot more, so I wonder if they bring in a card, would that be the same thing?
Yeah,
That too.
I would accept that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
I
So-
will promote that.
Bring our business card. We're if you see us out in town, Britt and I are trying to hand those out left and right. So
Sometimes you catch me and I'm out, but I'll tell you what. I'll
I
take
just
my
gave-
other business card of my actual business, flip it over, and I'll write Drink Talk on the back.
well,
How about that?
I just gave you a whole bunch today, so you
Yeah,
should
you
be
did.
good.
Thank
All
you.
right. Yeah.
And events, I know we talked about wine, but we should do an old fashioned.
Oh,
I
that
would
would
love
be
it.
Just old
great.
fashioned. I
I
could
would
just
love it.
With the shaker.
That's not that's not
can't
old
shake an
fashioned.
old-fashioned.
You don't shake an old fashioned. Oh
Whoa.
no!
Whoa.
You do the spoon.
Whoa.
You do the spoon. You do the spoon. You do the spoon. So, sorry, slow down.
Do we need a
That's right.
defibrillator?
Little
Oh,
spoon action.
That's
Delicate.
awesome.
It's
That's-
gorgeous. It's beautiful.
That's super awesome, by the way. I thank you guys for doing that. That's super cool that you guys are doing that
Oh, yeah.
for Spirit World.
Yes.
Well, and the thing is that we're happy here, and we want to do more with Drink Talk, but it's just,
We're learning.
How does everyone benefit from this?
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah,
All right.
very cool, very cool. So yeah, mention us at Spirit World.
10% off.
10% off, or bring the card in.
10% off.
10% off.
Look at that.
That is super cool.
That's
you heard
that's
it
a great
here.
deal.
All right, and you had to watch to the very end. So
Yeah,
if
right.
you're still up at 11:20 at night,
I am.
No, some people listen to us on the road, so
we still got a few viewers right now.
Exactly.
Actually, so that's
If
cool.
Alex is still there, I hope you remembered this.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
can't actually see which viewers it is, but
we haven't told all the employees about this yet.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. We have been talking about news fatigue and what we're all feeling when we're watching the news.
Been drinking on.
We have been drinking on.
That's why I pointed over there.
Thank you very much.
El Mayor, Knob
Tequila.
Creek, and
Yeah.
Buffalo Trace.
Thank you very much. They were all fantastic. Britt, why don't you zoom in on that real quick?
Yeah, I can do
and,
that.
Those are the bottles we've been drinking on today.
Look at that.
And
Fancy camera angles and stuff.
we have had Alzuri here from Spirit World. He is
Right over there.
always welcome on this program.
Always.
He brings a wealth of knowledge. I love... And the stories. You brought some new knowledge. You dropped some knowledge.
We didn't even
with
talk
the worm.
about
The
Proper
worm.
12, by the way.
The what?
We didn't even talk about Proper 12. That media nonsense.
Oh,
whoa.
no.
I mean, we can give this a minute or 5.
Can you say it in 60 seconds?
So,
Yeah.
Conor
No, you're
McGregor's whiskey, Proper 12,
Time
not
limit
available
here.
in the state of Nebraska currently. However, we have heard about this. We have done the research on this. When we get it, we will share it with the world. But that is a media nonsense of just this darling whiskey,
So it's called Proper 12.
Proper 12,
Oh,
Conor McGregor's whiskey.
Oh, yeah. If you watch the fights recently.
He's
And
an
then-
MMA fighter.
But it leads into the nonsense that is media fatigue of how they sold his last fight.
Hype up stuff.
Did they create this drama to sell this? Potentially.
Somebody's going to make money off it.
Potentially.
Somebody will.
Oh, man. All right, that's all I got. Logan, I see Logan checked in. Thank you for Logan. We appreciate you looking all that stuff up.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that. That was awesome.
I yes, I can do this type thing
but
and
it's
look up
disengaging.
stuff, but it's great that people can do that for us.
Well,
which is
because
great.
if you do that, then
then
you're
I'm
disengaged.
away from everything.
Yeah, you're taking
They
away
do it. They're engaged. They're a part of
Exactly.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Well, my name's Brian.
I'm Britt.
Alzuri.
Yeah, thank you for joining us on episode 72 of Drink Talk News Fatigue. Check us out next week, or 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now, and we're gonna be at
Inkwell is kind
Inkwell,
of
yeah.
we're in talks with it. It's not official yet, so
I mean, I put it in pin on my calendar.
yeah. We'll be going live from on location potentially.
Yeah, right
So,
at the bar, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. So thanks for joining us.